Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 208 of the Membership Guys podcast with me, Mike Morrison, your host for the show. This is the place to be for proven practical tips and advice on growing a successful membership business. How the devil are you? Thank you so much for spending part of your week with me. Hopefully, I can make it worth your while. I've got a great episode lined up for you today. All right, so today I want to talk about 4 things that have made us far more productive in running our membership. You know, there's so many different plates we need to keep spinning, so many different moving pieces involved in being a membership site owner, that any way in which we can get more streamlined, get more efficient, get more effective in our day-to-day operations is going to give us a big win. It's going to free up our time to focus on other key things. So 4 things that have specifically helped us with the Membership Guys and with Membersite Academy. The first of these, real specific, using a teleprompter for recording our on-camera videos. I cannot understate just how much of a godsend this has been. It's been a game changer. So over the last year or so, we've made more of an effort to actually appear on camera in the videos that we're doing. We started doing the monthly Academy show, which is kind of a little roundup news show that we send out to our members, 10 or 15 minutes long, where we recap any news from the month, any fresh content. We go through our member wins and we shout out everyone who's kind of shared their successes in the membership. We crown a member of the month, and we also talk about some upcoming stuff in the Academy. And we do this on camera. Now, the first couple of times we sat down to actually try to do this, we tried to ad-lib it. We had some notes and it was a disaster. Because the more we were trying to wing it, the more scope there was for everything just getting out of control, for us fluffing our lines, for us saying something we weren't meant to, or forgetting to say something we wanted to. So the next step, we tried to script the whole thing word for word and just had that script in front of us. Again, that was just terrible because we're constantly having to refer back to the script. When we switched things up and we got a teleprompter, the game changed. Now we get through those shows in a single take. So a 10-minute show takes us 10 minutes to record. And then there's no editing involved other than a little bit of topping and tailing and maybe adjusting the brightness and stuff like that. There's no actual editing of the content involved because it's a single clean take. That means we can set aside an hour to get that done, whereas previously we'd need to set aside a whole morning. But an even bigger win when it came to using our teleprompter happened when we revamped the membership roadmap. So anyone who's been a member of Membersite Academy for a while will know that about 7 or 8 months ago, we totally rejigged our membership roadmap. So previously it was kind of more like a checklist on steroids. But when we revamped it, we basically turned it into a course. It is the most definitive, comprehensive course on how to start, on how to plan, build and launch a membership website step by step. And in creating this new membership roadmap, we knew we wanted to record a whole bunch of on-camera videos to tie everything together. So we'd stripped those whole videos out and we actually set aside an entire week for us to record them. So some of them was just me, some was just Callie, some was both of us on screen at once. So we were recording quite a lot of videos and we assumed we'd need the whole week to get them recorded and edited. We got them done in a single morning. And that is entirely because we had a teleprompter. So the teleprompter we have, well, I'll add a link to that on the show notes for this episode. So keep an ear out for the link, the URL to that at the end of the show. But the teleprompter that we use actually utilizes an iPad. So we just hook it onto our tripod. We put the DSLR camera behind it, stick the iPod on the little plate. And then as we're looking directly into the camera, the words that we need appear on the screen. We've got a little remote control. It is such a time saver. It not only cuts down on recording time, but it massively cuts down on production time as well. It's probably been the single thing that has saved us the most time in recent years. So one real specific thing that's made us far more productive as membership owners. The second is getting into the habit of batch producing our content. So right now I'm actually recording this podcast at the recording studio run by my friends at Rebel Base Studios in Sheffield. And over the space of 2 days, I'm going to be recording 3 months worth of podcast episodes. So 2 days, 2 recording sessions, 3 months, an entire quarter of podcast content. Now, because we've got our team in place, because we've got processes and all that sort of stuff, this is really the recording of the episodes. This is the most work that I have to do in the process. After they're recorded, they go off to our editor, they go off to our admin assistants to get it all up on our hosting account and all that sort of stuff. So once this is batched, I'm done. My work is finished. I don't have to worry about what's happening with the podcast for another 3 months. So in 3 months' time, I'll be back in the studio. I'll do another batch. And then 2 days, it's done. It's out of the way. I can focus on other things. We do the same thing with our membership content too. So we started putting out something called the Membership Insider, which is a monthly deep dive walkthrough of some of the most successful, some of the most popular memberships in the world. Again, I record those back to back. So I'll take a day or two. I'll line up the sites I'm going to be using. I'll hit record and I'll record at least 3 months worth all in one go. Then it goes off to our team. They schedule it in. They write anything they need to write. And I don't need to worry about that ever again. It's just a far more efficient way of producing your content because so much time gets lost getting into the zone to write something, to record something, to create something. And if you're just a bit slapdash in your approach, if you're writing blog posts 2 days before they need to go out, that can actually have a knock-on effect to the quality of that content as well. It also means when you're batch producing your content, you can eliminate any other distractions. So you essentially just lock yourself away for a couple of days. You can put on an out of office message. You can make sure that there's no meetings or anything else scheduled. You can get completely zeroed in on just that one task. And as a result, you become far more productive. The next big thing that's made us a lot more productive is developing processes and templates for the tasks that we do on a regular basis. So again, I mentioned this before when it comes to batch producing the podcast. We have a set process that every single podcast episode goes through with tasks assigned to the right people at the right time. This is saved as a template in our project management system, which we use Asana. And so for every new episode, that template gets reproduced. The tasks are all set up. The dates are all set. Everyone knows what they need to be doing. And as a result, everything flows like clockwork. Taking the time to actually look at what tasks in your business are repeated. What things do you need to do more than once per month? And then going through that task from start to finish and breaking it down into every individual step, turning those steps into a checklist that you complete every time you do that task. That not only ensures that the work you're doing is consistent, that you're not missing anything, but also then makes it easier to start outsourcing individual aspects of every task. So again, with the podcast, we develop the processes first. I would generally go through the entire process myself. So I'd script it, I record it, I edit it, I write the show notes and so on and so on and so on. But then gradually over time, I was able to take individual parts of the process. So to begin with, the editing, I could take just the editing part and outsource that. So suddenly there's 20 tasks I was doing. Now there's 18. Then I look at what else is there. What other parts could I outsource? We take the admin tasks. So suddenly there's another 5 tasks off my plate. Those go out to our admin assistant. Then there's the graphic stuff. That's another 3 or 4 tasks. Again, that goes out. The starting point for all of that is creating those initial processes, getting them set in stone and then setting them up as repeatable templates, which you then use over and over and over again for every piece of content you create. We have these templates and these processes in place for podcasts, for blog posts, for new courses, for new quick wins, for live Q&A calls. And again, this just streamlines the business so much more and it makes us far more productive. Because everyone knows what they need to be doing. They know when they need to do it. They know exactly the order in which stuff needs to be done. And so there's less discussion, there's less hair pulling, there's less trying to figure out what you have to do to get a podcast episode or a new course out there. Every business should have these sort of standard operating processes in place. Now, of course, I mentioned that we do have a team. We've got admin assistants, we've got our community manager and all that helping us out. That's not always been the case. So obviously these guys lighten the load a little bit when it comes to putting out new content and stuff like that. But one particular way in which we utilize our virtual assistant that again has made a huge, huge difference to our membership is actually having our VA involved in our live Q&A calls specifically for collecting questions. So if you're a member of MemberSite Academy, you'll know that we do 2 live Q&A calls every month. And to access those calls, you go to a single page on our website where you'll see the live streaming video and you'll see a chat box next to it, in which you can ask questions, you can chat to other members and so on. Now, sometimes that chat box gets quite lively. People are helping each other out. They're discussing topics that come out during the call. And so it's not only used for posting questions. So generally, and historically, the way in which we've done things is Callie usually has her laptop open. She is keeping an eye on the chat box and she's trying to spot all the questions that are being asked. Now, that obviously requires her to split her focus between answering questions and monitoring the chat box to make sure we don't miss anything. So first and foremost, we got our VA in there to do that spotting. So that obviously takes the task away from Callie so she can focus entirely on the call. But also, what it does, because obviously our VA then collects them and puts them into a little Google Doc that Callie has on her computer, and that updates in real time. But when she does that, she'll also be finding other resources on our website, other links that we can give to the people who are on the call to dig deeper into the topic that we're talking about. So again, this enables our members to just go further from the answer that we're able to give on the live Q&A. And it means that we can say to people, actually, well, you know, this question you just asked, I just did a podcast episode about that. And as a matter of fact, Sam's just posted the link in the chat if you want to dig into that deeper. That just makes the live Q&As so much more useful for the attendees and just easier to manage and easier to run for us because we're not having to remember links to stuff. We're not having to look it all up. We've got our VA collecting questions and also compiling resources that she can then give to our members, completely freeing us up to focus on what we're there to do, which is just to answer those questions in real time. So I just want to share those 4 things in particular, real specific things that have made us within our own membership more productive. These are things that pretty much everyone can do within their membership site. First and foremost, if you do any form of on-camera recorded video, get a teleprompter. Trust me, it'll massively cut down on your production time, on your editing time, recording, and all of that sort of stuff. And the end result will be far better for it. If you're creating regular content, which as a membership site owner, you most likely are, get into the habit of batch producing that content. Having that real focused short bursts of time to get everything done at once. So you're freeing up your time and attention to not have to worry about whether you've got a podcast recorded for this week or whatever. Again, that's such a game changer. It really frees up your mental bandwidth and it helps you ensure that the content you're putting out is better quality because you're not having to rush it all at the last minute. Everyone running a membership should be developing processes and repeatable templates for any task that you're doing more than once. So every new piece of content you're adding to your site, there should be a process that you've clearly identified and defined for every different type of content or every other task that you do more than once in your business. Not only does this help you streamline your processes, it's also going to give you a great starting point for being able to identify tasks that you can start to outsource to other people, enabling you to focus on the stuff you do best. And then finally, if you have a virtual assistant, if you have someone helping you with the admin and you're doing live Q&A calls, think about whether you could have them involved in the same way that we utilize ours. Even if it's just having them on hand to be able to look up any links, any content that's in the membership, that's going to help you to answer the questions your members are asking more effectively. So hopefully, even if you just implement 1 or 2 of these things, it's going to help you to sharpen up your game and become much more productive in running your own membership site. So that is it for another week. Head over to themembershipguys.com/208 to get all of today's show notes and links. And I'd love to hear, as always, what you think of today's show. What's been your biggest takeaway? Give me a shout on Twitter @membershipguys, or let me know inside our free Facebook group. Go to talkmemberships.com or type Membership Mastermind into your Facebook app. There you will find me and 12,000 other membership site owners. And we'd love to hear from you about what you got the most value from today's episode. I'm out of here. See you next week. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Member Site Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.